I love this picture. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's the tree of life. How many of you know all about the tree of life? It's beautiful. And I wanted you to take a moment to look at the quote that we had up there this morning, because it is for our guest speaker next Sunday. We are incredibly blessed to have with us next week Joel Brass, who is the author of this amazing book that I'm reading called Healing Your Relationship with Yourself. Who would like to heal the relationship they have with themselves? It's a great work that he did. And he'll be here in person. I read a little bit of his biography. He dedicated this whole book to his wife. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? I love that. And his family. So here is his quote: "A shift is something taking place so deeply in our emotional and spiritual natures such that we cannot return to the old ways even if we wanted to." Who wants to return to their old ways? Anyone here? 20 years ago, where were you?
When I had that body, yes.
Oh, they want the 20-year-old body. They want the 20-year-old body, but not the 20-year-old mind. Right? So this entire month of September, we have walked across the bridge across time, this beautiful bridge across time, and we have celebrated and commemorated our personal journey, whatever brought you to your spiritual path. And once again, for the last time, think about whatever it was. What event brought you, put your 2 feet, a left one and a right one? Some of us have 2 left feet. Anyone?
I do, yeah.
Whatever brought your feet to this path. And as we look back on our lives, we know that every single time we decided whether we ultimately judged it as being good or bad. Anyone judge their past as being bad? In my past, I was so bad, it was good. Anyone ever do that? Or it was so good, it was bad. Because that bad is the new good, right? It's bad. It's bad. So if we really look back on our lives and we realize there's so many things to be grateful for. And so the very first thing I want us to do this morning, before we move into the 2 ideas for making decisions in your life that will create it to be even more extraordinary. The word extraordinary means extraordinary. Extraordinary. Who wants to be ordinary? Who wants to be extraordinary? Extraordinary. So whatever that might be, and we're going to learn today 2 ways to do that. And one of them is from a great spiritual master still with us today, which is Neil Donald Walsh. You'll hear more about that. He wrote a book that you might find amazing called Happier Than God. Happier Than God. Isn't that, it's pretty darn happy, right? But before we go there, there's 3 ways in your life that your life can be extraordinary now. And so before we actually go there, I want to reflect on your life as it is right now. And for example, for many of us, our mind might want to go to a place. If I say, what is going on in your life right now? It might be something difficult. Anyone ever have any difficulties?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it might be something very difficult in your life. And that's sometimes where our mind wants to take us. Anyone ever do that? We dwell on those things that are difficult, those things we do not want. And of course, you all know, because you're great metaphysicians, that if you focus on what you don't want, what happens?
You get
more of it.
You get more of it. So we cannot allow ourselves, it's said, and I quote, the luxury of a negative thought. And sometimes we find ourselves there. So I'm reminded of a line from a beautiful song by Jamie Lula in his album. We've played his song, some of his songs before. But this one, in this particular song, he says, and I quote, "I've got so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for." So right now, I want you to contemplate 3 things in your life that you're grateful for. I'll share 3 of mine, and then I'm going to have you all say them together. I mean, just all at once. I want to fill this room. I want you to feel the energy of this room when we all say the things that we're grateful for. So the first thing I'm grateful for, as an example, is that I am alive. Now, some of us in this room may have had near-death experiences, and we may not, or we've been given a terrible diagnosis. Anyone ever have that? Yeah. Forget about it. I am alive, so I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful for my extraordinary relationship with the divine, with my CSO. Nothing else. I am so grateful for that. And the third thing I'm grateful for is for my daughter, for my family. If you have children or grandchildren, just to be grateful for that. So much. So there's so many things. So I want to hear from you. It's your turn. So let's hear. Pat, what do you have? What are you grateful for?
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren. Okay, let's hear from more of you. And just all at once. It doesn't have. You don't have to stand up. No one's going to judge you.
My partner.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's fill up the room. I'm grateful for that. I have a four-legged friend, and I get to see my dog all the time. He's not really my dog, but he's a different dog. Let's hear it. Come on, some more. What are you grateful for? Your amazing husband. Your amazing husband. Yeah, all kinds of things. You know, the earth is a nice day, and the sun is shining. The sun is shining today. Woo! Let's say that together. Woo! So did you feel that? So we fill the whole room with positive energy. And can we maintain that in the face of difficulty? I mean, that's the work. That is the work we are all called to do. So I think that was beautiful. And I can feel that energy raising. So in our work in the past several weeks, we discussed the single most important thing, the most important piece of advice ever given. Who remembers? I shared this with you last week. Who remembers what it was? No one. You know what they discovered? This is so funny. They did this, this test, and they wanted to see if people remembered what you said, or they remembered what you wore. What did I wear last week? No one remembers.
Red.
Pardon me?
Red.
You wore red.
Clothes. So I'm going to give you once again, aren't we funny? We are such funny beings. So here we go. I'm going to read it to you again. And I brought for you an extraordinary handout that I'm going to give to all of you after. If I give it to you now, you're all going to be reading it. So it's from a place called Notes from the Universe. And this is what it said. It says, did you know that the single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone on this planet who wanted a life partner is the exact same single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wanted prosperity? Is the same advice, it happens to be, the single most effective piece of advice given to someone who wished to discover their purpose, who wants peace on earth, who wants to experience the great good of God. And what is that advice, I ask you? The universe said this: be happy now. And then it says, whoop, whoop, the universe. Let's say that together. Okay, so be happy now. We're here to be. Can you be happy now?
Yes.
All right. So acknowledging our extraordinary life and to be happy now, I want to offer you two thoughts for being happy now that come out of Neil Donald Walsh's book, his great book called Happier Than God: Turn an Ordinary Life into an Extraordinary Experience. So I'm going to share these two ideas. Here's number one. The first idea of how to have an extraordinary life is this, and I quote from my friend and mentor, Neil Donald Walsh. He said, give others every experience that you seek. Give to another the experience that you seek. And here's some examples from his book. If you wish to experience love, cause another to be loved. If you wish to experience abundance, cause another to be abundant. If you wish to experience success, cause another to be successful. If you wish to experience power, cause another to be powerful. If you wish to experience wisdom, cause another to be wise. If you wish to experience romance, cause another to be romanced. Who wants to be romanced? Everyone. Okay. And if you wish to experience forgiveness, cause another to be forgiven. If you want to experience peace, cause another person to experience peace. So you got it?
Yes.
The whole idea is you want to give to another. And why is that? Well, in Happier Than God, these are the words of our wonderful Neale Donald Walsch. This is what God said. He wrote all these books called Conversations with God. We have them in our library. It's on there this morning. Margaret's bringing them in. So if you want to borrow any of those books, it doesn't cost anything. Conversations with God. So God, he was talking to God, right? And God said to Neale, so this whole idea of giving to someone else what it is you wish to seek for yourself is because you, said God, you are the only one in the room. And Neale said, huh? Huh? Let's say that together. Huh? What does that mean? Well, God explained, all things are one thing. There is one thing, and all things are a part of the one thing that is. Therefore, what you do for another, you do for yourself. And what you fail to do for another, you fail to do for yourself. And I suspect, said Neale, that at least on an intellectual level, we all understand that, right? But now comes the huge part of the mystery formula for how this works. Walsh calls it the multiplier effect. By focusing on just yourself, you limit the amount of energy that you output, because in our human incarnation, there's just you. Yet by focusing on others, we multiply the amount of energy we output by the number of others on whom we focus. This isn't something we often think about, but it does make sense to me as I was reading this in his book. If everything is energy, and we know it is, if energy creates, and we know it does, then the more energy we use, the more quickly and magnificently we will create. And everything that we create, we experience. I'm going to say that again. Everything that you create, you yourself will experience. This is because ultimately all things proceed from us that come back to us. And that's why we had that song today, which was perfect for today. There is one universal substance whose business it is to take form in multiplicity. And so simply said, we multiply our good when we help others get what they desire. And so this is one way to be extraordinarily happy in the moment. That was number one for Neale. Number two, the second way. And this is a biggie. So I want you to poke the person next to you and say, this is for you. Psst, this is for you. This is just from you, for you, from Neale Donald Walsh, okay? Okay, so this is it. Number two, how to have an extraordinary life. Number one, who remembers number one? I'm just seeing.
Happy now.
Yeah, but that be happy now. But how do you be happy now?
By
number
giving
one,
to others.
by having to cause others what you yourself desire. Right? Number two, here it is. Have only preferences. Have only preferences. You heard it correctly. Have only preferences. We can make ourselves so unhappy and miss our extraordinary life simply by finding it impossible to accept life as it is presenting itself right here and now. It sounds like we talked about that. It is a little bit what we talked about last week. So remember this mantra. We're going to say this together. Let me say it first. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint about anything whatsoever. Have you ever tried not to complain? And kvetch about something? Have you ever tried it? You ought to try it on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to say it. You follow me. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything.
I have no complaint whatsoever.
I have no complaint whatsoever.
So this occurs when we are willing to shift our consciousness away from our addictions. Now, when you hear addiction, a lot of you might think of alcohol, drugs, and gambling, but I'm not talking about big addictions. I'm talking about our little teeny tiny addictions. What might they be?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. I'm not talking about that. That's a good one, though. How do you know if something's an addiction or just a preference? And you find this out by your reaction. By your reaction. And so I'm talking about a lot of people, if they don't get their way, including ourselves, what do?
Sulk.
We sulk, we pout.
Have a temper tantrum.
Walk away.
You walk away. It's a good one, isn't it? So the reaction we have really determines whether or not it's an addiction or a preference. But if it's a preference, well, we may even have a little bit, we might be slightly disappointed, but it does not disturb the inner peace and the inner beingness of who we are when we have just a preference. So again, those two ways are you help others by giving to them what you are saying you want for yourself, and also by having a preference instead of an addiction to it. And so we celebrate our extraordinary lives and make them more so by being so aware and so grateful for all that is in our life right now, by giving to others what we desire to get for ourselves, and by changing our addictions to preferences. And that brings us to the very last part of today's message. And again, this is from Neil Donald Walsh. I love him. And how to create an extraordinary life. So number 3, for your next idea, what would be for you an extraordinary dream? What would be right now in this moment an extraordinary dream? A dream that you desire to create for yourself. What would that be? And that you would desire for our community, and that you would desire for our world, and the desire for our universe upon universe upon universe. And here's the thing, here's the rub. Here's the really, really important spiritual, metaphysical teaching that I leave with you today. This whole idea is that you cannot not create. You cannot not create. Just like you cannot not breathe. Are you all breathing?
Yeah.
What happens if you try and stop breathing? Well, you're not going to be alive much longer, right? Because you cannot not create. You are either creating by default or by design. This means that you are either intentionally calling forth what is the highest and best good, or you turn and you create something that you do not want. But in every moment, with every thought, with every word, with every action, with every decision, you are creating. And so the question would be, do you want to create something that is a blessing to everyone or not? You cannot not create. And I call this deliberate creation. Are we deliberate creators, or are we creating by default? How many of you want to create by design? You want to design your life, you want to create it the way you want it to be, and not by default. And that's what we call, someone was telling me a little bit earlier in the office, they record Oprah on Sunday morning, and she was interviewing Eckhart Tolle. And he was talking about this topic, which I think is very interesting. So we want to become conscious. We don't want to be unconscious creators. And we become unconscious and we create things by default when we're not aware. Anyone ever not aware of their thoughts? Not aware of their actions? You're just kind of reacting. I'm reacting. No, when we react, we create that. It says in Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people perish. And so my friends, what is your vision? What is your dream? What is your extraordinary dream for your life? What would that be? And you're going to have an opportunity right now to be able to write it down. I'm going to have Ken and Pat come forward, and they have a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper, which I've already done, it says, my current dream is, so I want you to think of just one. You're not going to write them all down. You might, for me, I have a list of all my dreams. And you're going to leave the round container up here. I think she took it. Oh, it has the pens. Okay. And remember, there's no big or small. Whatever is your current dream, you don't have to put your name on it. Just write it down. And what's going to happen is I'm going to have the ministers come up. We're going to put it in the dream incubator. I created a dream incubator. And we're going to have our ministers come up and pray every day and twice on Sundays for your dream to manifest. Just write down one dream, and you're going to fold it in half. Everyone have a pen? Write down one dream. Okay. Everyone got their dream? Their one dream? Your extraordinary dream? Okay, good. I see a lot of happy faces out there. I want you to take it. I want you to fold it in half so no one else has to see your dream. And then I want you to pass it to the center of the room, like where Paul is, just all to the center. And then we're going to put it in our dream incubator. Can we have them all? We have all your dreams up here. I'm going to ask Pat to come up. Ken, come up on stage. You two over here. Between the three of us, I'm going to say the words and do a treatment that every single one of these dreams is right now an accomplished fact. And I want you to send your love and blessings and join me as I say this treatment in our, turn it around. They have to see what I wrote. I created this. It's a dream incubator. Anyone know what an incubator is? Percolator? Right? So every one of us has a dream, an extraordinary dream for our extraordinary life. And so let us pray. I want you to take your hands and put them together and send your love up here, because look at all these dreams. It is full of dreams in the incubator. So I'm taking a moment on this beautiful fall morning to recognize there is only one life, one power, or as Pat says, one thing going on. And that is the presence and the power of Almighty God, Spirit, life, energy, source. And this amazing power is the same power that creates worlds and universe upon universe upon universe upon universe, powerfully creating the entire cosmos that I read has 100 million universes in it. That is an amazing whole lot of space and planets and stars and universes. And it continues to expand at the speed of light, the scientists tell us. So we live in a universe that is so huge, a cosmos, forever expanding. And that same power that created this cosmos, this never-ending, unfolding universe, created you, created me, created us, created this center for spiritual living Kamloops. So that means that right where I am, right where you are, right where we are, all of the essence of God is present. There is no such thing as lack. God is here and always will be, always has been, forever and ever and ever. And so knowing that, I know that this same power that created the cosmos can absolutely manifest every one of these dreams in our dream incubator. That there is no big and small in spirit. There is no big and small in God. It's just as easy to create a button as it is a universe. We're dealing here with an almighty power. And we are each creators by design, not by default. I am choosing now to be a creator by design. To speak the word and know that God is not deaf, that God hears, is always present, is everywhere, the power that is everywhere present. And so I know, and I send my love and my blessings and my faith and my trust that every single one of these dreams that we have written down is right now, in this very now moment, already an accomplished fact. It is a done deal. I know this with every fiber of my being. And I am so grateful to know this. I am so grateful to know that every one of these dreams, these extraordinary dreams, are already an accomplished fact. It's already done in the mind of the one. And so it is with absolute confidence and trust that I release this prayer treatment into the law of mind. This great law of the universe that always says yes. It says yes. It says yes. That we are conscious creators of what we do want. And we choose to be aware of that in every single second. And I am so grateful. And so I simply release these dreams into that divine incubator I call God, the law of God, the law of mind, and I just let go. And I let God. And we say together, and so it is. And before we play our last song, thank you. Let's give them some love for joining us up here, all of us. And every single day and twice on Sundays, we are going to be in treatment for these dreams, these extraordinary dreams. And I can hardly wait to hear how they manifest. So we'll do that every day. And before we have our final song, I have a handout I'm going to ask you to give. This is for you to take home. And I shared this with you last week about it, but I never gave you a way to look at it until today. So hand this out. There is an amazing website that will send you every single day, Monday through Friday, not twice on Sundays, but Monday through Friday, will send you an uplifting message. And it's called Notes from the Universe. And I'm going to share, we're going to read this together, because this is one of the notes. This is actually an oath that came when I joined. And if you join, if you wish to join, if you so choose to join, you will get one of these also. But let's say this together, because it's so powerful, it's so beautiful, it is absolute truth. So I'm going to read this, and I want you all to join me in reading this together. In the face of adversity, uncertainty, and conflicting sensory information, I hereby pledge to remain ever mindful of the magical, infinite, loving reality in which I live, a reality that conspires tirelessly in my favor. I further recognize that living within space and time as a creation amongst my creations is the ultimate adventure, because thoughts become things, dreams do come true, and all things remain forever possible. As a being of light, I hereby resolve to live, love, and be happy at all costs, no matter what, with reverence and kindness for all. And so it is. And on the bottom is the website where you can sign up, and you will receive in your inbox Monday through Friday these wonderful messages. I'll read one more and then we're going to do our song. This is really quick. And I just got this one the other day. Love where you've been, love where you're at, love how you think and the power you pack. Love all that you seek, love all that you feel, love your rocking emotions and the thoughts you make real. But mostly amazing, Reverend Joanne, and it'll put your name in there. Really, really, really love yourself in this very moment. What? Because loving you, the universe is loving you from every angle. Signed, the universe. It's nice to be loved that way, isn't it? That's what I say. So, let's have our song. Have a great week, everyone. And thank you so much for being here. And your dreams are coming true. They're incubating.